The Gauteng Department of Education announces an extension on the closing date of the 2024 online admissions application period for grade 1 and grade 12. It's now been moved to 21st July. The 2024 online admissions application period was initially scheduled to close on the 14th of July. For more, we're joined by the Gauteng Department of Education spokesperson, Steve Mabona. Steve, good evening to you and welcome. So what's led to the extension?
Good evening, man, and to our viewers. Look, we have realized that parents prefer to drop off the documents at schools that they've applied for. And we felt that because we are going for recess, from the 23rd of July up until the 17th of July, coming back on the 18th, when you close on the 14th, then you might disadvantage those parents that would want to take that documents at the schools. So that's why we then felt that let's extend up until the 21st of July and also giving them up until the 28th to submit, because we have 7 days after application to submit your documents.
We'll talk about just, the surge in numbers that have applied on your online system, but I just want to understand this better for the sake of the parents. This is a school that they would prefer for their children. Are they limiting the scope of schools they could apply for if they go to their school of choice and hand in documents and make the application there?
No, when you apply to 3 or 4 schools, you need to submit to all of them. Right. But when you upload online, you upload once. All schools that you would have applied for, they will then be in a position to view your documents and access them there. So it's advantageous to upload online. But, we have realized when you assess the numbers, you can see that most of parents, they still prefer to take their documents at the school, because we've realized that some parents, the information that is online does not match. For instance, the proof of address. You find that you want to give us a document that does not have your names, and that is a challenge. And those that are letting or leasing, they need to give us additional information, like the copy of the identity of the right. owner and the municipal account document or a statement that will bear their names. So those are the things that we really need.
If my memory serves me well, I think the last time we checked, the number of applications you'd received on the online portal was north of 400,000. And I suppose one of the questions being asked is, are all of those children going to be placed? It's a question you get faced with every single year.
No, actually, we have recorded over 400,000 applications, but that does not mean it's applicants, because a parent might apply to more than one school.
Right.
So we still are looking forward to many parents applying, because when you look at the applicants, we are still far from about 300,000 that will normally record in terms of the applicants that will apply each and every year. So that's why we encourage parents to continue to apply, go online and apply, and make sure that at least by the time we start with the placement, we would have had everyone in the system, so that we can know where we pressured and they plan better.
Well, we certainly will have you back once the application process is completed, so that we can get to, as you say, the accurate numbers around how many learners need to be placed in school. Because, again, we'll have this conversation, probably in January or February, closer to the time that they will be placed, to find out whether, there is spaces at schools for each of them. I want to come to the second issue, Steve, if we may, and this relates to the Gauteng City Region Academy and the reported non-payment of stipends to thousands of young people who are on internship programs at the Tshwane North and Ekurhuleni East, I think TVET colleges. What's the reason? Is this true, and what's the reason for it?
Yes, it is true, but we have already paid all of them that stipend. We initiated as a department to go to TVET colleges and say learners that want to go to different companies for work experience, we will assist them with a stipend, because we've realized that when they go to many companies are not actually amenable to paying them a stipend. Because we have a responsibility to empower youth in Gauteng, we felt that let's pay them a stipend. So the challenge that we had was more of the systems. During the process, when after capturing all their names in our systems and, the integration with the ICAV and your CETA, because you need to verify. You cannot just pay, because some of the young people would have benefited out of the other programs of government. So you need to make sure that there's no double dipping and all that. So that process was delayed, but we managed to resolve. And we've decided that in future we're going to digitize this process so that we are not having such problems.
So you're saying all of these 7,000, I think the number was, have been paid. When were they paid?
They were paid last week. It's just that Ramlifi is campaigning to be a DA leader in Gauteng. So he issues statements without content. You issue a statement and then you ask us questions. Because if you look at that statement, he's saying he has asked questions to the department, the MEC must respond.
Yeah.
But you go in public with information that is you are not sure of what you are talking about. So we're going to respond to them and tell them on when we paid, all of them that have been paid. We have paid, and we have learned from this. We're going to change the process on how we're capturing, these young people. But it's our drive to empower them and make sure that, because they need that experience so that they can be conferred with their qualifications. If they don't have that, they're not conferred with their qualifications. And we are assisting them as a department.
All right, Steve, thank you very much for popping your head into our studio and giving us an update on the online application process and the extension in the deadline for applications for grade 1 and grade 8. So make sure you keep and you notarize some of these adjustments. The Gauteng Department of Education spokesperson, Steve Mabona.